Simon Pegg has been a fixture in the fan community ever since Shaun of the Dead, and for others long before that with his TV work. But now, the star of Mission Impossible and the Star Trek films is gearing up for a brand new role, the role of a director. According to reports, Pegg will step behind the camera to direct his first feature film later this year. From an interview in Empire magazine, Pegg said the following: "My directorial debut will hopefully be shooting by the end of this year. Nira Park sent me a script last year and said, 'This might be your first film.' I read it and said, 'I think you might be right.' Sure enough, that's what we're gearing up to do in November." Pegg is also a screenwriter and most notably wrote the scripts for such films as World's End and Star Trek Beyond. This just sort of seems like the next natural progression stage in the evolution of the filmmaker-entertainer that is Simon Pegg. Now, of course, he will always be most and best well known for working with Nick Frost and Edgar Wright on all the films that they've all done together, both as a trio and some as duos here and there. But we've seen him evolving and doing it. Look, he's been a screenwriter for a long time, but he's been doing bigger and more notable projects. I remember it caught a lot of people off guard that he wrote the script for Star Trek Beyond, or at least was one of the main writers. And to me, Star Trek Beyond may be the best Star Trek film in the J.J. Abrams era. It caught a lot of people, including myself, by surprise. I loved that film. I thought it was great. It's really sad that it didn't do so well at the box office, per se. But seeing that he's progressing now to directing films, like I said earlier, seems like the next natural step. Simon Pegg is a natural storyteller. Simon Pegg is a filmmaker. And being so closely associated with Edgar Wright, you knew at some point he'd want to get behind the camera too. Now, the speculation's going to be, what kind of film is this? They didn't give us any indication, no details about what film this could be that we're getting from a Simon Pegg. Could he bring along an Edgar Wright to appear in his film, since he's appeared in so many of Edgar Wright's? Could we see a cameo or a significant role for a Nick Frost? Who knows? Or will he really want to make this one on his own without those guys that he's always been associated with? We'll have to wait and see. I'm going to go out on a limb, purely based on speculation. I got nothing to back this up with. I'm going to guess it's going to be some form of genre film. Whether it's going to be like a little bit of sci-fi in there, whether it's going to have a little bit of horror, something he knows and understands that he's comfortable with. It wouldn't be the worst idea in the world for him to make his first directorial debut in a genre or in a type of film that he's very well versed in and he knows really well. Something like a World's End or Hot Fuzz or Paul or something along those lines. Now, he could go straight drama. He could go straight comedy. He could do that. But I've got a feeling he's going to stay a little bit in his comfort zone, which is a good idea for his first film, and we'll see something genre-related. Whatever it is, I'm sure he's probably going to do a great job. Like, this is a guy who's been in and around the camera, both in front of it and behind it, worked very closely with Edgar Wright for a long time. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do and see if he can continue to evolve himself. My one fear is that he might be a little bit too good at it, and we see Simon Pegg more and more direct and write instead of seeing him in front of the camera, and I just adore seeing him in front of the camera. So I hope he's not too successful. Is that weird?